repurposed an old folk song called Joe Hill, and here it is.
There's a sing-along part.
There's a sing-along
part.
part.
The words are no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So I believe in you.
Night I had the strangest dream. I dreamed I saw Joe Hill. He was alive as you and me. I thought we're never gonna see his like again until we find a way to gather. Admit what is the matter. Find a way to organize again. He came a-walking through the field, frightened by 1,000 suns. The music played around us all. He said an organizer's work is never done. An organizer's work is never done. But Joe, I said, you're 10 years dead. How can you be here now? He smiled at me with his kind old eyes and said, it's more than death to kill a man. Somehow, takes more than death to kill a man. Somehow, when you woke up, talk your talking, you help others, keep on walking, hammer of justice. Will they trust us if we're just like he said, so you will have to write more words for tired eyes and teach these songs I sang to you. What death can never kill goes on to organize, 'cause death can never kill the organized. Here's your part. Ready? Na 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 na, na 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 na, na 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 na, na na na.
O'Neill. You know what I think Pete would have loved the most about that? That you had a dream about him and it inspired you to write a song about Joe Hill. Joe Hill was born Joel Haglund in Sweden in 1879 and is best known for writing songs for the Industrial Workers of the World, the IWW, an outlawed union called the Wobblies. He wrote the songs for a book that was published in 1911 called The Little Red Songbook, and was a little red songbook that they would hand out at meetings. In those days, particularly in industrial workplaces, they deliberately used language barriers to keep workers from organizing. In the New England mills, dozens of languages were spoken at any given time, and when they started to get together, they'd introduce a new labor force that they couldn't communicate with. So Joe Hill, being a Swedish immigrant, he addressed that head on by writing songs to melodies everybody had heard, to really popular songs of the day or popular folk songs. And he would write lyrics, very simple lyrics, one syllable, so that even if people couldn't understand the words, they could sing them phonetically. And once they started singing together, they felt that they had more in common than divided them, and they started to form. The first time that was used was in Lawrence, Massachusetts in 1912. A big strike at the industrial mills, known today as the Bread and Roses strike, because the women marched down the street with big signs that said, "We want bread and roses too," introducing the idea that it wasn't just about, 3 meals a day and a roof over our heads, that if you worked hard in this country, you had a right to some joy in your life too. But at the time, before it became known as the Bread and Roses strike, it was known as the singing strike. Because thanks to Joe Hill's simple little songs, everybody knew the melodies and everybody could sing the words. They were able to sing together. And there was one other thing that strike was known for. It was the first industrial strike in the United States that the workers won. So if you wonder why they don't want you to think music is important, that's why. Give you an idea, though, of how famous those songs were in the days. Back then, his most popular song was called The Preacher and the Slave, and it was set to the melody of an old hymn everybody knew called In the Sweet By and By. And the chorus went, "You will eat by and by in that beautiful land up in the sky. Work all day, live on hay, you'll get pie in the sky when you die." That is the origin of the term pie in the sky. So the next time you hear some pundit talking about pie in the sky, he's quoting Joe Hill. Isn't it? Jeff Bartley.
Wasn't there that song, that one, last night I had the strangest dream. I never dreamed before, right?
Yeah.
And I know.
Just sort of melded in. Ed McCurdy song.
Yeah.
From the 1950s.
What's this next line of it? I dreamed the world had all agreed.
What Jeff is bringing us here is a really authentic hootenanny moment here.
Super meta.
What is it? And doesn't that have that part? And the people in the streets were dancing round and round, and swords and guns and unicorns were scattered on the ground. I think you repeat the first verse over again, and that's it.
There's another part.
Another verse?
And the people in the streets,
Yeah, I just sang that.
you did?
Yep, and swords and guns.
Oh, there's the part about
And when the paper was all signed and a million copies made, we all joined hands and bowed our heads, and grateful prayers were
And
made.
this is when the streets below happens. But we'll do the first verse.
I see, okay, right. Right.
I dreamed they.
I said,
They say folk music doesn't know how to entertain.
You're never going to hear a moment like that on commercial radio, folks. Never.
Imagine Beyonce. What was that song?
I think it's still your turn, Joe.
Yeah, it's still your turn.
It was a good effort, but it's still your turn.
All right. Every morning when I come in, I can hear my black dog bark. Every morning when I come in, Lord, I can hear my black dog bark. Warning me that someone been hanging round. You know that's about to break my heart. I go home in the morning, but my breakfast it ain't never done. I go home in the morning, but my breakfast it ain't never done. Every time I get to my house, that's about the time my little girl, she's out on a run. I don't see why little girl won't treat poor Jeff so mean. I don't see why little girl won't treat poor Jeff so mean. This is the best line in the whole song. You know, I done asked her for a glass of sweet milk, and I swear she will give me cream. Now, you know, everybody's appetite ain't alike. In the morning, I drink sweet milk. And in the evening, I don't drink none. Now why she don't have my breakfast done? She's out on a 4-day run. Every morning when I go home, well, I can hear my black dog bark. Every morning when I go home, I can hear my black dog. You know it hurt me so bad, till it be about to break my heart. This is a weird part now. Bad woman knows she mistreat me. She knows she done me wrong. But that's alright, one day she's coming back home. I go home. Lord, I can hear my black dog bark. You know it hurt me so bad, till it be about to break my heart. Thank you.
Jeff Bartley. Now let's hear one from Alistair Mook.
Woo!
Oh.
I was counting on some extra time there. Sorry.
Want Sweet Mook in the morning.
Sweet, sweet mook. I thought maybe I'll do this. This is the most ridiculous song of the 1960s. This was a song. This almost sums up so much of folk music. This was a song recorded by an African recorder, George Sibanda, in the maybe late 50s on an African compilation album, which then started to be played by a lot of white men here in America, including Ramblin' Jack and Arlo Guthrie and Taj Mahal, who's not white, but also Jim Kweskin. And Jim Kweskin is the person that I probably first heard this, and none of us know what it means or how to sing it properly, but it has not stopped us in our great white way of performing it over and over again. So carrying on the tradition of white cluelessness, here's a song from Zimbabwe or South Africa, somewhere in the continent of Asia. Here we go. Guavi kuzwanle tambiambe, izole gambe, suyamtana. Guavi kuzwanle tambiambe, izole gambe, suyamtana. Nizem tengi lama banza, izi wichi le banana. Nizem tengi lama banza, izi wichi le banana. Next time you sing. Guavi kuzwanle tambiambe, izole gambe, suyamtana. Guavi kuzwanle tambiambe, izole gambe, suyamtana. Nizem tengi lama banza, izi wichi le banana. Nizem tengi lama banza, izi wichi le banana.
Wabi, Alistair Moat. Jeff Bartley just did a song, I believe the Lightnin' Hopkins song, right?
Yeah, I meant to talk about that and completely spaced it out.
Lightnin', one of my all-time favorite folk music stories is about Lightnin', and I put it in my book, my folk music novel called Revival, because I just had to. Well, you know me, I have to. When I hear a great story, I got to tell people. He was a minor R&B star in the 40s. He had a few hits, was one of the guys who sort of invented the idea of rhythm and blues, and went back to Texas disgusted with the music industry. And the most important thing he learned from those years was to never trust a white man with a pen in his hand. So in the early 60s, a bunch of these little blues and folk labels started asking him to record, and he'd always say no, because he never made any money from those records. He got ripped off all the time. Well, one day he was broke, right? So he decided to go up to New York, and he went to one of these little labels that had asked to record him. He said, okay, I'll make a record for you, but here's the deal. Cash only, one payment, one session, and a bottle of gin. Okay? That's it. And they said, wait a minute, all these royalties, you could be... No. Just cash, one payment. The little label started realizing they'd get to keep all those royalties. So they went off to the bank, got a few $1,000s for him and a bottle of gin. He stuffed one in his pocket, the other in his mouth, sang him 12 songs, and at the end he said, is everybody happy? He said, yeah, that was great. Like, that was good. He got in his car, checked his address book, drove to the next little label that had asked him to record, went in there, made them the same offer, got the same cash payment, same bottle of gin, and sang them the same 12 songs. He did that 5 or 6 times over the next few days and drove back to Houston. And if you notice, there are a lot of Lightnin' Hopkins records that are basically, like, he was very improvisational, so they're different versions of the same songs. And they one label would bring in Sonny Terry to overdub it so they could say, Lightnin' Hopkins and Sonny Terry together for the one and only time. even though Lightning was back in Houston. But anyway, I love that story. The Neils, yes. Oh, you're thinking about it, aren't you?
Is it too late for us to?
They'll leave us, $1.50, I think, for 12 songs. That's what you make on Spotify, right?
Oh no, not close. Like fractions of pennies.
Right, but I was adding up all the fractions to be $1.50. Nurse and I learned this song from an awesome CD called A Vision Shared that was put out by the Smithsonian. Songs by Leadbelly and Woody Guthrie. And if you don't have it, I highly recommend getting your mitts on a copy, even if you don't own a CD player. One day you'll own a CD player again. You can play it then. But
Our
Sweet Honey
version-
and the Rock covered it on that particular recording. This is by Leadbelly. This is a sing-along. So please do sing along. It repeats. Scott, did you want to tell them about this song? Because this is...
He'll back intro it. That's what he does.
Yeah, that's what I do. I
All
back
right.
intro. I'm the back intro guy. You sing the song, and I'll back intro.
All right.
Bring me little water, Sylvie. Bring me little water now. Bring me little water, Sylvie. Every little once in a while.
Bring it in a bucket.
Bring it in a bucket, Sylvie. Bring it in a bucket now. Bring it in a bucket, Sylvie. Every little once in a while.
Getting mighty thirsty, Sylvie.
Getting mighty thirsty, Sylvie. Mighty thirsty, Sylvie. Getting mighty thirsty now. Thirsty now. Getting mighty thirsty, Sylvie.